Let's find out. Let's speak to Bill Bowkett, a political reporter at Rection. He joins us now. And so, Bill, okay, so this isn't maybe, headline grabbing kind of stuff in terms of, nobody was really, everyday person wasn't sitting down waiting and being like, oh my gosh, where's this energy security strategy? I've been waiting, sitting. No one's saying that. But actually, even so, it's so important. We might not be sitting waiting for this strategy, but we are certainly paying so much at the pumps when it comes to energy prices. And so what do you think, what can we expect from Boris Johnson to help people?
I've been certainly looking forward to it as a political journalist. I've been thinking, where on earth has it been, number 10? I think it was supposed to be announced nearly 3 weeks ago, and it's having to be delayed, mainly because of other issues that have been going on, like, for instance, the war in Ukraine, but also there's a lot of division within the cabinet over
paying for it.
Paying for it. So the Treasury have opposition because Rishi Sunak, he doesn't want to bang the buck even further with Treasury spending, given the hike of inflation. But also there's some opposition as to actually, with this strategy, which should be unveiled tomorrow, as to what is going to be the means forward to, secure Britain's security, not only in terms of economic security, helping ordinary people with their bills, but also political security with Kremlin-controlled supplies, being drifted away from the British market in order to hurt the ruble in response to, Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. So what to expect? I would say, I think you're going to get a lot of talk about nuclear. I think it's going to be emphasized because the other day, the government confirmed that they're going to be giving two American firms, Wessington and Birchall, £20 million for these new power stations that are going to be coming to Britain. And we've already got, from COP26, if you can remember, there was the confirmation of the Sizewell C plant, and that has to be expanded, kind of nuclear power across. And
Rolls-Royce, weren't they? They've got small nuclear stations, haven't they? Didn't the government say something about investing in Rolls-Royce, the British Rolls-Royce?
Yes, so Rolls-Royce, those investments in there. There's also the continuation of Sizewell B. But the problem is that a lot of the nuclear plants that are currently used in Britain are going to be decommissioned pretty soon.
Is that still going ahead? Or I guess we'll find out. I really hope tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it will, because a lot of these plants are having to be decommissioned by 2024. And Boris Johnson wants all electricity, 25% of electricity, in fact, to be, from nuclear power. So as a result, that has to be expanded across the entire sector. And then in terms of what else I think we're going to see in the strategy is quite a bit of U-turning on fracking, I think, yes, which I think are going to be quite subtle on, because they've already scrapped the memorandum on fracking from 2019. The Quasi-Cartagena Business Secretary has also commissioned the British Geological Survey to do a study into the pros and cons of fracking. And also Quadrella, the big fracking company, been given another year to practice in different fracking plants, like in Lancashire, for instance. So I think that's maybe what we're going to be expecting, but who knows what is going to be in this strategy that's going to be unveiled.
And to be fair to Boris Johnson, I don't think any government has truly significantly dealt with this, which is why you could argue in the situation we're in now. Do you think Boris Johnson will really be able to put forward something which is so significant that in future, for generations to come, we will have a real profound change in terms of how we get our energy?
It's a big turning point, because Boris Johnson has in the past, talked about, for instance, wind farms and how we're like the UAE of wind farms, and how going forward in the future, Britain can be an actual powerhouse when it comes to, efficient, green, clean energy. Business would be able to thrive from that in a kind of a green market environment. But the government having to do that while simultaneously, upholding their commitments to net zero from COP26 and previous commitments to reach net zero by 2050. And that's the difficulty. And the difficulty also is having to then persuade Tory MPs that this is the right move and strategy that we're going.
Because a lot are in bed with the big companies, aren't they? I mean, let's face it, they have people advising the government and lobbying, even seconded to help them with their energy policy, and there's a lot of that goes on.
Do we know this for sure?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, definitely they do.
So you're saying there are MPs who are lobbying
they go
for
energy, and they get from private companies, and they go, let you help us with our energy strategy.
Is that the case, Bill?
I think the government wants to be as involved as it can in kind of steering the country in the direction, but they want it to thrive within like a free market setting.
But other countries don't do that. Like Hinkley and all that, it's French and Chinese. Why don't we do what other countries do and keep it in our country as a public property?
Yeah, and then that also links into to oil as well. Yeah. As you mentioned just before I came on to the segment about bragging about I don't think you're going to see number 10 going to be bragging about the reliance and remaining continuation of North Sea oil.
What is going on there? Why is I can't tell you how many callers we've been getting just asking, can we not just go to North Seas? That surely is the answer when it comes to ending our reliance on Russian oil.
Yeah, well, Jacob Rees-Mogg, who's now the Brexit Opportunities Minister, says that we need every last drop that we can get from the North Sea oil. And we saw Shell as well reversing its Cambo oil decision earlier this year as a result of the war in Ukraine. So while we might be able to still be drilling and hoping there is going to be more oil, it's going to run out eventually. So I think right now is the moment where policymakers are thinking now might be the perfect opportunity or the right moment, the appropriate moment to start transitioning into, more efficient modes of energy before we risk the fact of losing more natural resources like oil.
What form, we spoke about wind farms, what else can we do to end this reliance on oil and gas? And can we even afford to do anything? It's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, that's the other problem, especially in a cost of living crisis. Bills are already racking up for a lot of people, and having to then put in all these things in place it's going to cost the state money, but it's also going to cost individuals money as well. I remember last year when the government introduced their green levy on heat pumps, for instance, and how expensive that's going to cost ordinary households just to install. So one thing that I don't think is getting a lot of traction at the moment, and in kind of speculating what's going to come into this and having spoken to people about this, is the idea of insulation. Because if you remember, Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor, last month said that he was going to scrap VAT on efficient materials like solar panels and also on heat pumps. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was going to be, maybe an extension of the Green Homes grant, which expired, several months ago, or where we're going to see more schemes in place that would encourage people to switch it or to support them in the long run.
Okay, Bill Bowkett, a political reporter at Direction. Good talking to you.